everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we are in Siem Reap, Cambodia, and we are super excited to show you around this ancient city and Angkor Wat Park.
Just be sure to watch until the end of the video so we can share with you some tips and recommendations that will help you make the most of your trip here. And we will also reveal the one temple besides Angkor Wat that you absolutely can't miss. So let's go. Siem Reap is located in northwestern Cambodia and is the main gateway to Angkor Wat and the larger Angkor Archaeological Park. It's one of the country's top tourist destinations, offering temples, museums, local markets, restaurants, and a wide range of hotels. And this is why most visitors base themselves here while exploring the ancient Khmer ruins. Because of our timeline, we found that the best way to explore the majority of the Angkor Archaeological Park is to purchase a 3-day pass online through the official website. And here is how you can do that. Simply search Angkor Park tickets, then click on the official Angkor Enterprise page and it will take you to the site. Here, you will have the option to choose from 1, 3, or a 7-day pass depending on how much time you have and your budget. Then you can choose the type of pass you want. Once you click it, it will prompt you to create an account, first using your email, password, and a photo, which will then be used to set up your ticket and QR code. Once you buy your ticket, it will send you an email verification with the ticket and the QR code, which you can use at the entrance of each temple daily. Ancient Angkor was the capital city of the Khmer Empire, and for 6 centuries, this powerful empire once controlled a vast portion of Southeast Asia. Today, many of its temples and historic sites are protected by UNESCO, preserving them for research and future generations to better understand this remarkable empire. The best way to explore Angkor Archaeological Park is by following one of these 3 main routes: the Small Circuit, the Grand Circuit, and the Roluos Group. The Small Circuit, or Small Tour, covers most of the famous temples including Angkor Wat, Angkor Pass, and Ta Prohm. It's the most popular route and ideal if you have only 1 day in Siem Reap. The Grand Circuit, or the Big Tour, takes you further out to larger, quieter temples like Preah Khan and Srei Roop, offering a broader look at the empire's architecture. And finally, the Roluos Group, which is located outside the main park area and includes some of the earliest Khmer temples, such as Bayon. It's less crowded and gives you insight into the early foundation of the Angkor civilization. So over the next 3 days, we explored this massive complex of ancient temples following these routes, but we also included museums and favorite local markets along the way. On day 1, Rachel was not feeling well, so it was up to me to go out and explore Angkor Park. I was fortunate enough to have Ren as my driver. His tuk-tuk is what I refer to as the Lamborghini of tuk-tuks in the city because it was well decorated, comfortable, and Ren was an excellent driver and a friend. My first stop was to Preah Khan. This massive temple was built in the 12th century by King Jayavarman VII, and at its peak, the complex supported thousands of monks, teachers, and staff, with inscriptions mentioning over 90,000 people connected to its operation across the Khmer Empire. The temple was dedicated primarily to Buddhism, but also includes Hindu influences, reflecting the religious transition of the Khmer Empire at that time. Today, its long corridors, intricate carvings, and partially restored stonework gives you a real sense of Angkor's scale and power. Next, I made my way to Ta Prohm. It's totally quiet in here. I don't think there's anyone else in here beside me this morning, and it's only 7:45. So yeah, coming early is definitely the way to go. Also built in the 12th century, Ta Prohm is considered one of the most unique temples in Angkor. Unlike the large temple mountains, Nik Pon sits on a small circular island in the middle of a man-made reservoir. The central shrine here is surrounded by 4 smaller ponds, which is a design that represents the 4 elements of water, fire, earth, and wind. The name Nik Pon, which translates to coiled serpent, refers to the 2 intertwined Naga statues that wrap around the base of the central tower. Next, I made my way to Ta Prohm. This 12th century temple was dedicated to King Jayavarman's father, and even though Ta Prohm is much smaller than other temples nearby, it's much quieter and way easier to explore. I am absolutely in disbelief so far at how few visitors are here. I honestly expected all these temples to be packed. It's almost 9:30. Yeah, this is good for me. Next, I made my way to East Mabon. This 10th century temple is a bit different. It was built during the reign of King Rajadvarman II, and unlike the jungle-covered temples I saw earlier today, East Mabon predates them. The temple was originally constructed on an island in the middle of what is now a dry reservoir. Dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva, the temple is built as a 3-tiered pyramid made of brick, clay, and sandstone. One of its most striking features is the series of large stone elephant statues positioned at the corner of each level. East Mabon stands as a strong example of Angkor Kor's early Hindu architectural design, which defined the Khmer Empire before its later Buddhist influence. Next, I made my way on a somewhat long but scenic drive to Banteay Srei. So just made it to Banteay Srei, which is farthest temple north that's included on that 3-day pass. The ride here was about 35 minutes in the tuk-tuk, so not too bad. So it's about 11:30 right now. It's still not too busy, so yeah, I think I'm making pretty good time. Banteay Srei is a 10th century Hindu temple built in 967 and dedicated to the god Shiva. Unlike the larger sandstone temples of Angkor Wat, Banteay Srei is constructed primarily from pink sandstone, which allows for some of the most intricate and detailed carvings found anywhere in Cambodia. Often called the Citadel of Women or Lady Temple by some of the locals, the temple is smaller in scale but extraordinary in craftsmanship, with elaborate floral patterns, mythological scenes, and finely carved sections that have remained remarkably well preserved. Banteay Srei stands out for its precision, artistry, and rich decorative details, offering a completely different style from the Grand Temple Mountains of Angkor Wat. Before you leave Banteay Srei, make sure you stop by the on-site Interpretation Center. It explains the temple's history, rediscovery in the 20th century, and one of Angkor Wat's most infamous stories of a young French writer who attempted to remove carved stone reliefs from Banteay Srei and ship them out of Cambodia to sell. On our way back towards Siem Reap, I asked Rin to stop at the Cambodian Landmine Museum, which is located along the road between Banteay Srei and Siem Reap. This museum is incredibly unique because it was founded by Aki Ra, a former child soldier of the Khmer Rouge, who later dedicated his life to clearing landmines across Cambodia. After years of conflict, millions of mines were left behind, buried throughout the countryside. Aki Ra began safely removing them and eventually created this museum to educate visitors about the lasting impacts of war. Today, the museum supports local children affected by landmines, making it not just a museum, but a powerful reminder of Cambodia's recent history and ongoing recovery. After that, I made my way to Banteay, Siem Reap. So I just made it to Banteay, Siem Reap, which was a 20-minute ride in the tuk-tuk from the Landmine Museum. It's 2 in the afternoon right now, and it's definitely getting real hot. Thank God for a little bit of overcast, but as you can see, it is still pretty empty over here. So that's pretty good. This 12th century temple just outside the main Angkor circuit was built during the reign of King Saravamana II, the same king behind Angkor Wat, and it was dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. What I liked about Banteay Siem Reap is how well preserved it feels and the many similarities it has to Angkor Wat. The carvings are detailed, the galleries are still intact, and without the big crowds, you really get space to take in the scale and the symmetry of the classic Khmer designs. Banteay Siem Reap, whose name means Citadel of the Siem Reap, refers to an old ethnic group which once lived near Phnom Kulen. The temple's remote location spares it from heavy tourism, making it peaceful and ideal for photographers. Next, I made my way to Srei Reap. So I'm here at the last temple, Srei Reap, which is the number 7 temple on the Grand Tour. And this is our last stop for the day. It is 3:15 in the afternoon, still pretty hot and a little bit crowded. This massive 10th century temple was built by King Rajavarman II, and unlike some of the temples I visited, Srei Reap was designed as a massive pyramid-style temple. What's unique and fascinating about Srei Reap is its towering central structure sanctuary. Okay, so let's go climb up there. The climb up to the central sanctuary is steep, but from the top platform, you get one of the best panoramic views of the surrounding Angkor countryside. Oh yeah, real good view from up here. Check this out. Srei Reap is carefully aligned tiers, each decorated with intricate carvings of gods, dancers, and mythological scenes give it its unique design. The temple's name means turn the body, and reflects its association with traditional cremation ceremonies and funerals during that period. The next day, Rachel was back in the fight with me, and we headed out with our favorite driver, Rin, and our tour guide for the day to explore one of the most popular temples in Angkor Park, the famous Angkor Wat. We coordinated for our tour guide through our hotel the day prior, but you can also book a tour guide online through TripAdvisor or getyourguide.com. We decided to hire a tour guide for the day because we knew that we'd be visiting some of the major temples, including Angkor Wat, and we really wanted to understand the history and culture on a deeper level rather than just walk through the ruins. Having someone explain the symbolism, the stories carved into these walls, and the rise and fall of the Khmer Empire completely changed our experience. We also learned that becoming a licensed guide here isn't easy. They go through a rigorous training and certification process, studying history, religion, and architecture, and many of them speak multiple languages fluently, which gave us a whole new appreciation for the knowledge they bring to our tour. As we stepped into Angkor Wat, we started at the outer galleries, walking through massive reliefs that stretch for hundreds of meters, telling stories of battles and Hindu mythology. Angkor Wat was built in the early 12th century by King Suryavarman II and originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. It was designed as a temple mountain symbolizing Mount Meru, the center of the universe in Hindu cosmology. Over time, Angkor Wat gradually transitioned into a Buddhist temple, which is why it remains an active place of worship today and one of the best preserved monuments of the Khmer Empire. As we climbed higher, level by level, each tier getting steeper and more dramatic. By the time we reached the upper sanctuary, the views opened and you could really feel the scale and symmetry that make this temple one of the most iconic places in Southeast Asia. So we're at the very top of Angkor Wat right now, and it's a little bit crowded, but something I wanted to point out. If you are somewhere that's that old, don't do that. Nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to see your name or your graffiti. Just keep in mind that this is ancient history and you are absolutely ruining it. If you're the person seeing someone do that, just give him a good smack on the back of the head, but remind him not to do it. Next, we headed to explore Bayon, which is located at the center of Angkor Pass. Built in the late 12th century, Bayon is famous for its massive stone towers carved with over 200 serene smiling faces. The main temple is currently undergoing major restorations, so some parts were closed for construction. But surrounding Bayon are several smaller temples and structures, including the Terrace of the Elephants and the Terrace of the Leper King, all part of what was once a massive walled royal city. And all of this sits within a massive walled complex surrounded by a moat that once enclosed the massive thriving capital city. Walking through this area, you're not just exploring a temple complex. You're moving through what was once a political, ceremonial, and spiritual center of the Khmer Empire at its peak. Exploring the entire Bayon complex could take between 2 to 3 hours, depending on the group and your pace. After exploring most of Bayon, we headed to a nearby restaurant to grab a quick lunch before making our way to our final temple of the day, Ta Prohm. So lunch was fantastic, and now we are at Ta Prohm, which is actually, we just learned, is where they filmed the Tomb Raider movie, and we're going to show you why. Ta Prohm is one of the most iconic temples in Angkor and one of the most popular, so naturally it is very crowded. What makes Ta Prohm so unique is that it was intentionally left largely in the condition it was found, with massive trees and roots growing over the stone walls and towers. The temple was commissioned by King Jayavarman VII as a monastery and university dedicated to his mother and believed to have once supported more than 12,000 residents and vast material wealth. Unlike the more restored temples, here you really get to see the power of nature intertwined with ancient architecture, which is exactly what gives Ta Prohm its unforgettable atmosphere. Okay, good morning. It's day 3, and we actually decided to come back to Ta Prohm because it was very crowded yesterday. So we're gonna do that first this morning. It's 7 a.m. right now, and then we're gonna head to the cluster of temples in the south, the Roluos group, here shortly. So let's go see what it looks like without the crowd. As you probably figured out by now, This is the one temple we absolutely recommend you do not miss. Ta Prohm was such a highlight for us that we had to come back the next morning to snap early morning photos and enjoy the unbelievable beauty of this place in a quiet, less crowded setting. When the temple opens at 6 a.m., the atmosphere is completely different. So, if you want to truly appreciate the beauty of Ta Prohm and avoid the heavy crowds, early mornings is without a doubt the best time to visit. Next, we headed out to explore the Roluos group. The Roluos group is one of the earliest temple clusters of the Angkor period, and they're located about 13 kilometers east of Siem Reap. These temples date back to the 9th century and represent some of the first major permanent structures built by the Khmer Empire. The group includes temples like Bayon, Temple, and Lolili.
Okay, so we are at our second stop called Bayon Temple. We were told by our tour guide yesterday to come out here, and I am so glad that he did. And we are like one of a handful of people that I see. No cars on the road, a little bit out of the way, no tour buses, no big groups of people.
Bayon is the largest and most impressive temple in the Roluos group. Built in the 9th century, it is considered one of the earliest true temple mountains of the Khmer Empire. You can climb its steep pyramid structure, and from the top, you get a clear view of the surrounding countryside. It really feels like the blueprint for many grand temples that came later in the 10th and 12th centuries. So now we're making our way through Prohm, which is also a late 9th century temple. It is beautiful. Check this out. Prohm, which means sacred bull, was built in 879 and is known for its 6 beautifully preserved brick towers. The carvings here are incredibly detailed, especially the decorative stucco work that has survived for over 1,000 years. It's smaller and more compact, but historically it marks one of the earliest major temple projects of the empire. Okay, and we just made it to our last temple of the Roluos group, Loli, also a late 9th century temple. So let's go check it out. Lulia was originally built on an island in a now dry reservoir and dedicated to the king's ancestors. Today, it sits within an active monastery, so you will often see monks and hear prayers around the temple grounds. The brick towers and carvings show that early Angkor style, giving you a glimpse into the very beginning of the Khmer temple architecture. Now, here are some tips and recommendations for visiting Angkor Park. Number 1. Having a tour guide is essential if you want to experience more than just the surface level facts. A great guide will bring the temples to life, sharing stories, symbolism, and deeper insight into the culture, history, and resilience of Cambodia that you're likely to miss on your own. Number 2. Download a copy of your Angkor Pass and QR code directly to your phone, and ideally carry a printed backup. Cell phone service can be spotty in certain areas, and you don't want to be stuck trying to load your email at a checkpoint. Number 3. Start your tour as early as possible. Not only will you avoid large tour groups, but you'll also beat the blazing midday heat and harsh afternoon sun that can quickly drain your energy in Cambodia. Number 4. Pace yourself and plan your route strategically. The Angkor complex is massive with over 90 temples to explore, so temple fatigue is real. Prioritize the sites you want to see, schedule breaks, and leave room to slow down and truly take in the culture and the countryside instead of rushing from one stop to the next. Well, that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, be sure to leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Also, make sure you check out our blog at riworldtravel.com for pictures of each one of these temples and more information on Cambodia. And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of our content. Thanks for watching.